Hey guys, today we're going to see a giant rock called Mahendravadi. This is a very interesting rock. From the distance you're going to think this is just a giant rock, but there's something very special about this. The Mahendravadi rock has many secrets buried inside. There are many mystical and spiritual things about this. And ancient builders worked on this rock at least 1300 years ago. Archaeologists confirm that this was built around 600 AD. This is just a formless blob which looks like a giant ball of cheese or butter. But you might realize that you're looking at it from a different angle, but when you actually turn around and see what's on the other side of the rock, it's really amazing because you realize that someone has converted this rock into an amazing temple, or maybe it's even a workplace. And this was done 1300 years ago. Archaeologists confirm that this was created at least around 630 AD. Now, when you really look at this, your life goals might change. When I really looked at this, my life goal became, step 1, find a big boulder in the middle of nowhere. Step 2, convert it into a home. And step 3, go to the post office and get an address. It's that crazy. I mean, you won't see anything like this anywhere except in India. The beauty of this is made of just one rock, which means nothing was added to it. We know there are giant monolithic temples like the Kailasa temple. I've already shown you another one called the Vetuvan Kovil in South India. But this is a freestanding rock. So you can see there is something very special about this temple. It has 3 entrances. Now you may think, well, it just has 3 entrances, but a lot of ancient structures have the same thing. They all have 3 entrances. You can see this in Egyptian pyramids. You can see this in Mayan pyramids. A lot of pyramids or Hindu structures have 3 entrances. And this is perhaps the very first one in India which has 3 entrances. And of course, the real beauty of this is even though we have 3 entrances, there is only one place you could go into. And you can see there, it's just solid rock. And on the other side, again, it's solid rock. Why did they give us 3 arches in the beginning, and in the end, there is only one chamber you can walk into? There's something symbolic about this. This rock is about 30 feet long and about 30 feet tall. And I've measured the doorways. The left and the right are a little bit smaller, and the one in the middle is a little bit bigger. It's at least half a foot bigger. Why? This is what we see in all ancient structures. The entrance in the middle will always be bigger than the entrances on the sides. And of course, why the number 3? And this is a very interesting concept because in Christianity, there is a concept of Trinity, the Father, Son, Holy Ghost. In Hinduism, there is a concept called Trimurtis. There are 3 gods. In Hinduism, God means G, generator, or Brahma, who's the creator, operator, or Vishnu, who's the maintenance guy, and destroyer, or Shiva, who destroys everything. This is what God means in Hinduism. So why 3 entrances? Why do we have these 3 arches? Well, this arch represents the past, and this arch represents what's happening right now, the present. And of course, this arch represents the future. This is why we have these 3 doorways, 3 entrances. Each one represents a point in time. And of course, your mind would be full of past and future, but there's really only one entrance, and that is the present. That is what's happening right now. You only have control over what's happening right now. And this is why there is nothing in the past, there is nothing in the future, and you can only access the present. So, what was the purpose of this temple? Now, what priests and other shamans would do in ancient times is they would bring a person in grief, a person who is in depression, or a person who is sick. The shamans or priests would not tell them anything, but they would simply observe which doorway they are using. If the person is using the arch at the left, which is the past, the shamans would understand that the patient is dwelling in the past. Everything in the past is affecting him. And if that person uses this arch, for example, the future door, they would realize that this person is terrified or anxious about the future, and this is what is causing his problems. Now, this was the purpose of this temple. Human beings do something very strange. They're capable of creating things, which is what creates time. For example, what we are really looking at is we are looking at the past. We're looking at what happened about 1,300 years ago. So we're basically looking at the past, and we may also be looking at the future. I mean, this could be your future self watching everything through memories. And animals don't do that. Animals don't create something and go back and visit it. But because we have this sense of time, we create a lot of problems with it. We are fearful and we are anxious about the past, and we worry about the future instead of living our life in the present. Now, there's something much more fascinating about these three arches. If we look at the painting called The Last Supper, done by Leonardo da Vinci, I mean, this is one of the most talked about paintings in the world. But there's something strange that most people don't talk about. There are three doorways behind Jesus. If you really think about this, the three doorways represent the past, the present, and the future. And this is why Jesus, who is an enlightened man, is really sitting in the present. And he is trying to get the 12 apostles to really join him in the present. But you can see there is a distinct division between the 12 apostles. You can see that nobody's even coming close to him. There are 6 apostles who live in the past, and there are 6 apostles who live in the future. But Jesus is the only enlightened being who lives in the present. And again, you may think that 3 doorways are a coincidence. No, it's not. Leonardo da Vinci was very well equipped with sacred numbers. He used the Fibonacci series. He was using the concept of numbers in all his paintings. There are not only 3 doorways behind Jesus, but there are also 3 doorways to his left and 3 doorways to his right. And you can see that he even used multiples of 3 on top. You can see a panel which has 6 rows and 6 columns. So Leonardo da Vinci was basically trying to tell us something. Was it the concept of time that he was trying to tell us? And you can see there's something strange about the statue. The statue looks almost brand new. Well, you see the difference because it is brand new. It does not belong in this temple. Local villagers put this because it's been empty. And this is why some experts are questioning, why did they build such an extraordinary structure and leave the main chamber empty? Well, of course, they would leave it empty. Why? Because that's what we have in the present. In present, if you really think about it, what's right now is complete emptiness. There is really nothing to go for. or nothing to think about. And that's why the present, which is the only chamber you have full access to, was left empty in ancient times.